welcome to the show. Today I'm going to go over some SEO basics. I'm going to show you how I took a website that was brand new and got it to the first page of Google within 2 months. So stick around, I got some great stuff for you. So before we get started, I want to tell you about an exclusive group of entrepreneurs that I'm a part of. Go and check the link in the description below. You definitely want to check that out. All right, welcome. My name is Joshua. I'm going to be going over a beginner's guide to SEO to give you some idea that I do know what I'm talking about. This is a website that we built and launched brand new. This was a new domain, and we set this up in about a month, and we ranked it on the first page of Google in 2 months. So I'm going to show you the process we used to do that. So this here is kind of a mind map using mindmup.com, and I kind of put this in here so we can kind of look at an overview. So when it comes to SEO, the first thing you want to start with is keyword search analysis. But you really need to understand that there's two different aspects to SEO. There's what's happening on your website, and there's what's happening off of your website. Back in the 90s, you had Yahoo, and in the Yahoo days, you would put your keyword on a website with white text on a white background, and you'd stuff your keyword in there 2, 3, 4, 5,000 times. Okay, and that would get you to the top of Yahoo. And then Google came along and they said, let's do this a little bit different. Let's take it and treat it like a college paper. So one college paper references another college paper. And over time, the college paper that's referenced gets more clout. So it's kind of like the same thing with your website. You get a link going to your website, and you get more clout, more SEO authority, more domain authority, and the more domains you have linking to your site, the better that is for you. Typically, there's some exceptions, but so let's look at the on-site SEO. So the first thing to start out with is putting Google Analytics on your site. That way, Google is aware of your site. You can start looking at search terms and how you're being found through Google Search Console. The next step is to install Yoast SEO, which is a WordPress plugin. So if you don't have WordPress, you may need to go a different route. But next is keyword search, and analysis, and this is extremely important. And you want to do this for every single page on your site. You want to say, what is the purpose of this page? What are people going to be searching for? What are they looking for? How is this going to help them answer the problem that they're having? And then from there, start figuring out what search terms they're using, and we're going to go over how to do that also. After that, you want to start building the pages and the posts, and then I would analyze the pages again with a program called MySiteAuditor, and that is this here. So you would put in your website, put in the keyword you found for it, select Start My Audit, and it will give you a list of things that aren't right on your website, and you go through and you check things off. SEO is very technical. So next thing up would be to optimize your images. If Google sees you pulling in large images, especially if it's really small on screen, so like one big large image or a few big large images on a slider, that's not a big deal. But if every picture is 3,000 pixels wide, then that slows down a website, and especially on mobile. So for that, I would suggest, for one thing, kind of monitor how large the images are that you're putting into your site, but also use WebP Express. That will help serve up WebP images, which is it's kind of like JPEG or PNG, but it's faster. So use that. And again, that's a WordPress plugin. So and then you want to run speed checking software. So for this, I like GTmetrix. You can enter your URL, analyze your site, and it will give you an idea of how fast things are running. And again, it gives you a list of stuff that you're doing wrong. It basically grades your speed and different aspects related to your speed. And then another thing that I typically do is use Link Checker. And you just put in your website, again, check it. It'll give you a list of the dead URLs on your website. If you have a new website, this probably won't be much of an issue, but you can still check it anyway. It's also a good idea to check with Link Checker every time you do like a major upgrade to your website. Okay, and then finally, once you have all this stuff in place, use a caching plugin. I don't recommend that you start out with this because as you're trying to develop your site. If you're doing a server-side cache, it can be frustrating because your site won't update, and you'll think you're doing something wrong when you're actually doing it right, but your browser is pulling a cached version of the website. And even if you clear your cache on your browser, like a caching plugin for a website caches it server-side. So even if you're clearing your local cache, you're still pulling that cached version from the server. So use that. And pro tip here, document your entire SEO strategy. Put like your web page, then put the keyword next to that, and some other metrics related to the keyword, and and just kind of like know what you're targeting for every page, because after a while, especially once you have a blog running for a long time, that can become confusing. So so do that. And offsite, let's start talking about that now. So once the idea is you want to get this set up, your on-site SEO setup, before you even think about offsite. The offsite stuff is really only effective if your targeting is set on your on-site stuff. So if you know, for instance, the keywords for your homepage, then you can start driving traffic to the homepage. And in order to do that, well, it's not just driving the traffic though. It's setting links. So you have like anchor text that you're going to put in, and you're targeting anchor text around the keyword of your site. You don't want to use the exact anchor text verbatim every time. And we can talk more about that in a minute. But you do want to kind of know what they are, so that as you start sending links, the text that's anchored, that you're sending over there, you can start building that strategy. And if you don't know what this is, you can't build an accurate strategy for your page, so for your website. So the other thing, and I would just say right off the bat, start getting some high quality links going to your root domain. And with that, I want to say you want to have a natural link text profile, not just a link text profile, but you want to have a natural looking backlink profile. So so you don't want all high quality links going to your domain. That looks suspicious, because in a natural world, like, you're going to get some high quality, some low quality. And but right at the beginning, it's not going to hurt you to get 3 or 4 or 5, even maybe 10 pretty decent links going to your site. The reason for this is you want to boost your domain authority, and then you want to boost your Majestic SEO has a thing called trust flow and citation flow, and you want to build that trust flow especially. And that comes from checking what website's going to, if you're searching for a link, you want to look at what website's going to be pointing there. So and then like I just kind of said, a natural looking link text profile. So one way to do this is to use the page title as an anchor text. You can get your anchor text, or your target keyword, because your target keyword should be in your title. And if you follow the Yoast SEO steps, if you follow the MySiteAuditor steps, you'll definitely already have that done. But if you put your keyword in your title, you will be able to use the whole title. And the reason that this looks more natural is because websites like Facebook tend to grab the title as the anchor text, when they pull in the link. So if you were to share your website page about product X, blah 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 product X is going to be in the that's going to pull in that whole title into the post that you put up. So so it looks natural for that reason. It helps to get your target keyword into your into your anchor text more often. So okay, so we've looked at pretty much all of this. I do want to show you one thing about finding backlink strategies, because that can be kind of difficult starting out if you're not familiar with how to do this. This post by Brian Dean at Backlinko, really good post. I mean, it is thorough. If you can see this little indicator over here, it just keeps going and going and going, and there's a lot of different ways you can get backlinks. So it can be a little daunting at first. I think this is like, I want to say this is like 30,000 words or something like that. It's quite a bit. Maybe it's not that much, but it's a lot. So 2 other tools I want to show you, and that's really this here. Watch to the end because there's 2 more things I really wanted to show you. And those are mangools. So this is a keyword search. It's more than just a keyword search though. You have the keyword finder. This is where you can research your keywords at the beginning. So you're setting up your site. Then you have the Serp Checker. Okay, and this kind of analyzes websites. And then you have the Serp Watcher, and this right here tracks. So you put in the keywords that you're targeting on each page, and then it will show you an layout. For every day, it just updates. It checks your links for you, and it'll tell you where you're at. If you're tracking towards first page or higher or lower in the SERPs. Then Link Miner, that's where you can analyze another site's backlinks, and you can kind of figure out what's your competitor doing, where do they have links from, if they're ahead of you in the search, and you can look and say, okay, what are their best links that they have, and then you can replicate some of those. Then you can help close that gap between your site and theirs. And then Site Profiler analyzes a website. So let's take a look at some of these. And so let's do web design. So this here gives you a list of relative keywords based on your search, and you can search by location. And then what I pay attention to, I don't pay attention to these because these are more for advertising, but these two, the search and the keyword difficulty, are very important. So the search is how often you're getting a hit, or how often Google's searching, for that keyword. And then the keyword difficulty is, how hard is it to rank for? If you look at over here on the right, there are 9 sites that are, on the first page of Google for this, and this score is calculated based on the metrics, the link profile strengths of these websites. So this gives you a good idea of what's easy, what's not, and you can kind of go down through and, look, this is not a full account. I didn't use my regular account, but so I can't really scroll more than that. But depending on your upgrade, what package you have, you can search more terms than that. So anyway, so that's the keyword finder. You can click here and add them to a list. So you could set up a list and start kind of keeping a bunch of ideas. And then once you have a good set of ideas, actually let's look at the Serp Checker real quick, and let's use SEOJet's website as an example. Okay. Analyze the SERP. This just tells you, this is kind of like what we saw over here in the right, but this is based off of the website. So actually that is, you put a keyword in that one too. So let's look at Serp Watcher, and this is where you would put in like SEOJet, for instance. And let's say United States, tracking desktop devices, and SEO as a keyword. Okay. Start tracking. And then it will go out over the next few minutes and grab, where they're at in the SERPs for SEO, the current key term SEO. And then it'll put some metrics over here that you can analyze over time. So that's the gist of this tool. Link Miner. So again, we can look at SEOJet, and you can kind of see where they have links coming from. So these are no follow links, which means that Google doesn't, it doesn't pass as much authority to the site. These do, the do follows do pass authority. And this is telling you what type of anchor it is. So in this case, it's an image. In this case, it's language. The anchor text on here would be, SEOJet.net, and, the link strength indicator. This is kind of how much, power that link is getting, that, passing on to the website. So, and then Site Profiler. This is really good to get, just kind of check every now and again, even with your own site. But you can also use it for competitor sites and stuff like that. So So here you have, domain authority. These are MOZ metrics, page authority. These are both MOZ. These citation flow and trust flow. These are majestic numbers and majestic SEO. So these are standard numbers to kind of look at within, the SEO world. And Alexa, this is a ranking of websites across the internet. And ideally you want to be like number one. Google is number one. So I think Facebook is number 3, YouTube's number 2. It's been that way for a long time. So anyway, so you want to be as close to 1 ideally as possible. And this is referring IP, so how many IP addresses are pointing into your website. And usually that's somewhat close to the same number of domains that are pointing into the site. Backlink, kind of history there. Scaling of backlinks over time. And it's got a bunch of different metrics here that you can look at. The top referring domain, so SEMrush points over, and so that's a huge link for them, right? 60 citation flow, 68 trust flow, and this gives you kind of an anchor text distribution, and that's actually a really good place to, it gives you some competitors of theirs. So anyway, but this anchor distribution, that's the next thing. And SEOJet, we were just talking about. I'm actually going to tell you what they are now, what they do. So basically, I was talking about you don't want too much exact anchor text in your website. So this kind of helps you analyze what you should have and as a target. So SEOJet has looked at thousands of websites, and they know the anchor text for the percentages. So whether it's an exact keyword anchor text, or if it's a anchor text that includes a keyword, or if it's a branded keyword, so like your company name or your website. And then like random, let's call them other anchor texts. So like just random, anything. Ideally what you can do, it's not ideally, you can do this with SEOJet, is when you log in, you can start building a link profile. And you can say, okay, for this page, the target keyword is this, and then it will tell you all the links you need to go get in order to rank on the first page of Google. So it's actually a really handy tool that you can use, and it will give you these indicators to let you know when you're in the right zone. You can see like the blue zone for each one of these. So like exact match anchor text, branded anchors, and this just gives you the capacity, the software to set that up. And you can even order links right through their website. So it's quite a handy tool, and so definitely go over and check that out. And that is pretty much it. So again, there's a snapshot of kind of the overall process. If you follow this process, you will either be on the first page of Google or very close to it. It does take some time. I wouldn't build links too fast. Make sure you have your on-site SEO solid. Make sure you're picking keywords that have a rather high search volume, but have a rather low difficulty, and the balance there, like that, those are kind of the open windows. So when you go in to look at, like the Mangools tool, you want to find those openings. So if let's say that was web design, for instance, you would that would be good. You have a couple hundred a month and very low difficulty. So that's what you want to find, and look for those long tail keywords. So like, I don't know, in Boston, for instance. Yeah, not so much. They're still kind of difficult. So yeah, website design Boston, that's not too bad, 35. But yeah, go in, look around, and it's really a matter of just developing that list, and kind of knowing what you want to pick, and then having a list of keywords already ready to go for when you decide to blog. So hey, before you go, make sure you check that link in the description below for that elite entrepreneur group that I told you about at the beginning of the video. You do not want to miss that. Go check it out.